Hello there. I'm Martha Van Dam with Living Beyond. Today, we're going to start a series that's just going to talk about one particular difficulty that sometimes we need to live beyond, and that is the trauma of betrayal. I personally believe that betrayal is one of the most painful things any couple can have to face. And so we're going to walk through it together. If you're listening to this because you're facing it, may I first just say to you, I'm so very sorry. I understand this is so incredibly painful and so confusing and so hurtful. There's just so many adjectives that could describe what you're feeling right now. And so I'm sorry that you're having to go through that. And I have compassion and understanding that very, very terrible this is for you. But as awful as it is, what we've got to do is we've got to lean in and pinpoint the things that we can and need to do to help you through this very difficult time. So, yes, my business is Living Beyond, but a subset of what I do is something called Living Beyond Betrayal. And today we start with that. Today's video is 5 things you must not do if you've just found out that your spouse or partner has had an affair, and 1 thing that you absolutely must do if you've just found out that your spouse or partner has had an affair. Or, may I add, has had an affair or has been unfaithful in some way. Many, particularly many women, will feel that finding that their husband or spouse or partner has some kind of porn addiction, or they're heavily involved in porn. That also counts. So whatever you consider to be betrayal, then if you have been betrayed, this video is for you. So fast, the 5 things you absolutely must not do. And these are things that you may feel like doing. But what we want to be sure of is that this very difficult thing has happened to you. We need to be sure that you're not doing things that are now going to make it worse or make it more difficult for you to work through for your own healing and perhaps for the healing of your relationship, if that is what you choose to choose. So, okay, our 5 things. Number 1, do not go to social media and make an announcement. The number 1, the biggest one that I must say to you, please do not go to social media and make an announcement. I've seen it happen. It is not pretty. And you're in a position where right now you may be so mad that you're ready for him or her to be out of your life and never see them again. But you don't know how you're going to feel tomorrow or the next day or next week or in a month. You don't. That's just the way this crazy thing called betrayal works. You will find that your mind and your emotions and your desires are all over the place. And so you don't want to make a decision right now that could make life much more difficult for you in the near future. So stay away from social media. Just don't even go there. The second thing do not do is do not contact your families and tell your families all about what has happened. Do not do it. And the reason for that is, again, you don't know where this may be going in the future. And if you're going to work on reconciliation, if that is what you decide that you want to do, and by the way, most couples do reconcile after there is some sort of betrayal or affair. But if you end up working things out, you will also very likely you'll have more problems down the road if the family is aware. So before you bring in family, you want to have some time under your belt. I'm not saying that you never will tell family, but remember, we're talking about when you first find out. So when you first find out, you do not tell family. The next thing is you do not go and tear things up all over the place. You don't pack up his stuff. You don't tear up his stuff. I don't want to give suggestions, but I've heard of some pretty rough things that people have done to tear up their significant other's things just out of anger. I understand the anger. The anger is so real, but tearing up his stuff is not going to help. 4th thing, do not gather up all of his stuff or her stuff and throw it out. Do not throw them out. This is not a clean and get rid of time. I understand that may be your first sense of feeling that you need to do. And maybe I should add, if this is not the first time, if you guys have been through this before and you have laid down the law that you are not going through it again, you will not tolerate it, then at that point, number 4 may go out the window. At that point, you may want to stand on, he knew what the result was going to be, and now he's having to face it. But in most cases, do not throw him out immediately. As I've said, you will find one of the curious things about having to deal with betrayal is that you'll find that your mind just goes all over the place. Given just a little bit of time, you'll find that it does that. And then the last thing, and I cannot believe I'm having to say this, but I'm saying it because I've seen it so many times now. So if you have just found out that your spouse or your significant other has had a relationship with someone else, an affair with someone else, do not go out and do the same thing just to get them back. Do not go sleep with someone else. Do not go show them what it feels like to be betrayed by doing the same thing to them. I promise you that will backfire. I promise you, you will now have complicated things so badly for yourself that it will just make it so much more difficult for you to heal and to move forward in a healthy way. So those are 5 things not to do. You are not going to go to social media and make an announcement. You are not going to tell families. You are not going to tear things up. You are not going to throw him or his things out. And you are not going to go have an affair with someone else. And so what's the one thing you are going to do? You are going to look at yourself and think of yourself like someone who has been in a horrible car accident. Imagine that some friend of yours has been in a very bad automobile accident. They're wounded. They're bruised. They feel broken. It may hurt to breathe. They may even be confused, but they're in a really difficult place. That person, that friend of yours who's gone through a physical difficulty like an accident, you're going to take care of them. You're going to take them food, and actually you're going to take them some comfort food. If they're feeling exhausted or they're upset about the way things are going for them, you're going to say, just sit down, just take a break. You're going to say, take a nap, stay in bed a little longer. You're going to say, do the things, you're going to help that person do what they need to do to take care of themselves. Well, you have faced an emotional blow that is as strong as the physical blow that friend might have had if she's in a horrible car accident. You know, we look at ourselves when we undergo something like bad traumatic news and we can't see a difference in ourselves. And so it can sometimes be difficult to actually recognize the severity of what has happened to us. But when you find out that you are dealing with betrayal in your relationship, that is such a huge, huge emotional blow that you need gentle and careful caring for yourself. What does that look like for you? I don't know, because it looks different for every person. But I can say there are some generalities. Try to force yourself to have small bites of food, even if you feel like you're not hungry. Try to make certain that you get rest as often as you can. Try to get outside and take a walk, maybe a bicycle ride. If it's better for you to be busy, then try to go to work. Try to do the things that you normally do to keep yourself busy. If you have children, by all means, spend as much time as you can caring for the children and keep your mind a little bit busy with that. Also, as a part of caring for yourself, give yourself room for whatever emotions come. In the beginning, your emotions will be all over the flipping place. It's normal and it's okay. If you find yourself coming to a place where you feel like you just can't handle it and you're wanting to do something drastic, especially if you are wanting to hurt yourself, then by all means, reach out to someone and tell someone that you need help. Do not deal with this alone if you're in that place. One other thing is, be very cautious about this, but if you have a friend or two that you believe are reliable, solid friends that will protect the information you've given them, that will support you whichever direction you take, but they will be alongside you, then by all means tell a friend. you will find that your partner doesn't want you to talk to anyone about it. Naturally, he or she is likely humiliated, embarrassed, ashamed, and they don't want people to know. And that's understandable, but you have just entered into a new world where you are going to need some support. And so finding a friend, a trustworthy friend, not a friend who's going to go put it on Facebook, but finding a trustworthy friend to talk to could be exceptionally helpful. Do you have a pastor or a priest, a rabbi? Is there someone in your circle, if you have a circle of faith, is there someone in that circle of faith that you could speak with that could be supportive? Go to them. You might want to look for a counselor who specializes in infidelity, and that can be a huge asset. So that you have 5 things not to do. The one thing to do is treat yourself with the truth like someone who's been injured. Be kind and gentle and supportive with yourself. That is task number 1. And that particular task is going to follow you all the way through your time of healing and your time of growth. And let me close with this one last comment or idea. And that is, many people have gone through this before you, and many people will go through this after you. You will find that you are now a part of a club you never wanted to join, but you are not alone. You are not alone, and here's something else. If you take care of yourself, you will be okay. It does not feel like it when the news first comes to you. It feels like a shock. It feels like everything inside you has just exploded. And you may feel like you can never be okay again. I understand that, but I want you to understand that's a feeling. It's not true. You will be okay. And the reason you will be okay is that you will do the things you need to do to make yourself okay. You're not in this alone. You're going to find a good and trustworthy friend or someone you can lean on or a counselor. And you're going to do the things that are good to take care of yourself. Continue looking for these series. Watch them as they come out. I'm going to talk about all the different aspects of healing that I talk with my clients about that have dealt with healing. That have dealt with infidelity. I've done this for 10, 11 years. It's something now that I do an awful lot of. And so I have a lot of experience in working with couples or individuals who have faced infidelity. So you take care of yourself. You go take a nap, or you go get a snack, or you go outside and have a little walk, or you go watch your children play. But take care of yourself. I'll throw in, you might want to do some journaling to help get some of this stuff out of your mind that's exploding all around you. Anyway, I will talk to you soon. Again, I'm so sorry you're dealing with what you're dealing with, but I absolutely know you can be okay. Talk to you soon, and thanks. Bye-bye.